Hello everyone. This is the love video for the horoscope Pisces for the month of October and whatever is left of September as well. Before anything, I would like to communicate to everyone who's watching this video that if you would like to see the exclusive card that I will have extra at the end of the reading, this will be available through a private reading under the membership channel. So in order to subscribe to this, you actually just need to click on the join button, which is beneath this video here. When you click that video, it'll ask for subscription payment, and that'll be in your currency as well. This is not mandatory, but if you do want access to the additional information for your horoscope as well as the other horoscopes as well, this subscription will be valid for a month, and it'll give you a little bit of more information based on what we talk about in these readings here. Okay, so for all of you that would like to do that, just remember to click the join button at the bottom of this video. Okay, so for this month, I am going to be utilizing two different decks. I have my regular deck, which I always utilize, and then I have the Lenormand deck as well. So I'm going to start here, Pisces. As always, explaining to those of you that are new to my channel that I shuffle my deck and I put 3 lines of 7 cards each. In this case, I do them individually. Okay, so you will need to think previously if you want the first line, second line, or third line, or if you would prefer to watch the full video and then determine which one resonates more with you. Sometimes it happens that none of them resonate. All of them might. It really depends on the reading, and I do want to let you know that this also applies to your ascendant and moon sign as well. So let's take a look, Pisces, and see what we have for you. Okay, so here we're starting with the first one. Okay, so here we already have 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have extra cards here, and we'll review them at the end. And this is the last card for you, Pisces, for this month. Okay, so what is this card telling me? Which is the Emperor card. And this tells me many things here. This is telling me that, first of all, that you may have taken on the attitude of the Emperor. And the Emperor is someone who plans and executes. So it could be that this month you may have decided to have an action plan. So Pisces characterizes themselves a lot to be very connected with their emotions, for example. But this month, maybe you have said to yourself, I don't want to act by putting my emotions or involving my emotions. This month I'm going to create an action and my behavior will be determined by that action plan. It could also be that someone is entering your life here who is a fire sign. Aries is the first one, because Aries is represented by the Emperor. It could also be Leo or Sagittarius. But as I've said, this card specifically represents Aries. So if you do know someone of that sign, then definitively this one is for you. So what's happening here? It's very interesting here. The first 2 cards, the Chariot and the Hanged Man, are the 2 most opposite cards that exist in tarot. Why is that? Because the Chariot talks about speed, movement, to go from one space to another very quickly. And the Hanged Man signifies to be still in one spot. But in this specific case, Pisces, this month you decide to leave this stagnation, that I would say it's a mental stagnation in respect to a specific situation that's worrying you very much. And you decide, as I've said, here for you decide on a plan here, and I believe it's someone who is represented by the Emperor, so an Aries person, to make a decision to advance. And to advance because where you are currently right now does not make you happy. This card talks to me a lot about insomnia, waking up at night, thinking a lot at night, tossing and turning, going around in your own mind, wondering why certain things happen, why they didn't, and definitively here I also see the card of the moon, which really adds to that card. It complicates things even more. If we are thinking about something, especially during the nighttime before we fall asleep, because that is the worst time that we can start thinking. Why? Because when we are doing something, an activity, whichever you're thinking about, and we start to think about something that tortures us, as we perform these activities, our mind kind of fluctuates from one thing to another, and it doesn't bother us as much. But when we're about to go to bed at night and we are calm and we start to think about these things, these negative things, then, believe me that this is really the equation for insomnia. Pisces, this card generally characterizes you here. This card is very associated with your feelings, emotions, fluctuation within the emotional aspect. But you say here, I no longer want to be like this. I can't continue to worry and without having a result. Here, look, these cards talk to me about a person that you communicate with via long distance, first of all. This person could be, I don't know why I feel Scorpio, or it could be in the Chinese horoscope, they could be represented by the tiger. To give you an idea here, who would be the tiger, this would be an individual who would be born, let's call it 70, 74, 78, 82, 86. So just so that you can kind of guide yourself on a little bit here. And what's happening here? You want to end the situation, close off the situation. And I see here other people of this sign here, Pisces. I see that a lot of you are going to decide to take action. And the action that you will take here, as you've seen with the Chariot, is to take a trip to where this other individual is. And so when you decide, I apologize here. I truly, truly apologize here, but I was speaking of the year of the tiger, and I don't know why I told you 70, 72, 76, 80, 82, and 86, and that is not correct here, because definitively that's not how the Chinese horoscope works. So if someone is with someone who was born in those years that I mentioned, well, this line is definitely for you. Or if you were born in one of those years. Okay, so I greatly, greatly apologize for that mistake, but sometimes when I say something, and specifically in the moments where I'm doing these readings, and I've said these years, I think that this has something to do with the people who are watching this. Please write to me in the comments if this is your situation and you're dealing with someone who was born in those years. Sometimes I'll say something that my guides have told me and I don't realize in the moment. So after kind of analyzing this, I realized that this has significance. So this is not the year of the tiger. The year of the tiger would be 86, but the next one, we would be talking about the year 98. So please don't guide yourself based on that information that I gave you, but I do think that it could have some importance, a lot of importance, those years that I mentioned. Okay, so please let me know. So what's happening here? Some of you may be deciding to take a trip, as I see here at the Chariot. And I see that you say, I'm going to take this trip to see if what I'm dealing with here is real. And here this card is telling me that you are going to try and manage the situation as to the best of your ability. And there is a disbalance here, and you're trying to put things in perspective. And finally here, this card is telling me that not only for those of you that want to take a trip, that you will achieve your objective and be able to make this trip and meet up with this person, but also that this situation is going to bring something positive for you. This card is to expand your horizons. And I don't know, I feel that some of you might say, oh, you know, I felt that, you know, before traveling, it was so complicated, and really after doing it, it was actually much easier than I expected. Others might think, oh, I'm so glad that I ended this relationship, and I'm not sure why I waited so long because I have so many other people waiting for me. So I see that there could be many situations here, but see which aspects resonate with you, and please let me know also about the years, as I mentioned before. Okay, so let's take a look at what the Lenormand card says. Okay, so here 2 cards have turned over and 2 here. So I'm going to interpret each one for each situation it will apply. So let's take a look at the first one here. Here it talks to me about children, and for people who go around in a circle and never finalize anything or make anything concrete. So this situation here I see applies to if you decide to take a trip to see what's really happening with your current situation or relationship. Here I see that there could be a child involved, or many children involved. And also the number 3, I feel that it's importance in this situation. It could be that the child they have maybe is, they're turning 13 years old, or, you know what I mean? I feel that these numbers here are significant. And the only thing that you need to be cautious of is to not fantasize over reality, okay? Because reality is one thing, and don't make this fantasy that you're going to make this trip and it's going to be amazing until you've done it. Okay, and the second situation here where you have already decided to end this relationship because it's not working for you, this is telling me that this individual was someone who adapts themselves or puts on a mask depending on the circumstances. And you, when you see their true self, you've decided that this is not what I want. So we have 2 different situations here, and you'll have to know which one applies to your reality. Okay, so we're going to move on to the second line here. We'll see if it's as intense as the first one. Okay, so this card turned over. I saw it, so that's why I'm going to put it down here. Okay. Okay, Pisces. So let's see what we have here is yourself or someone who shares the same element as you, which would be water. So Cancer, Scorpio, Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, so yourself. Or it could be someone who brings news to you. Okay, so what do I see here? I see someone who arrives with good news, or it could be yourself here, the bringer of good news as well. And in this case, we are talking about, for example, the number 1, I see could be pregnancy. So obviously here that if it is a pregnancy, I see one that is a pregnancy that is wanted in this specific case. Because I know that, you know, someone may write to me and say that I didn't want to get pregnant, but that's not the case here. I see that in this case, this individual wants to get pregnant, and I see good news here. I see much happiness, and this news, it's going to almost lift a weight off of the relationship, off of your chest, a lot of worry that you had. And here, the only thing that there is a certain problem or issue in this respect, and I'll let you know what it is. I see that there is a fight in which I see one individual says that they are right in the argument, and the other one says that they are right. I see that each one of you is trying to do things your own way. I don't see that this is a very grave situation. The Nine of Wands here is a card that is a Arcana Minor card, which is flexible. And what do I mean by that? It's not a big issue. This is something that can be resolved with your own will. And the way to resolve it is by speaking, by communicating. Okay, so to give you an example here, someone says, I want to baptize them. The other person says, I don't want to baptize them. One person says, you know, I want to name them this name, and the other one says, I want the other name. You know, things that are very simple, discussions that are not that big. There's no major issue in order to worry about. And here is your relationship, your partner who is very happy, someone who's very intelligent, potentially planning. And here is the 9 months of happiness and joy that you will have. This is a card to achieve something great. And of course, maternity is one of the most beautiful things that exists in life. And so for the time being here, these months are going to be something that is happy and beautiful. Try to avoid issues and arguments. And if you see here, the two cards here say to communicate and speak. Say what it is that you're thinking. If one of you wants to put your grandparents' name for the child, maybe that is an option, but you do need to communicate about this. So this, as far as the argument goes, does not make any sense. Okay, so the second case here, I also see that someone arrives into your life, they declare love, and I see here someone is an air sign, so it could be Libra, Gemini, or Aquarius, and you start a new relationship with them, and you feel great. But what's happening here is that this person likes to impose their ideas within the relationship, and you feel, you know, great with this relationship. You start to feel, I would say, that enthusiasm, those butterflies, that joy, but you have that bit of you that's wondering, what should I do? Because I like this person, but it's someone who is constantly imposing. And Pisces people tend to be a little bit emotional. So for the time being, what it says is, again, to communicate these issues or these needs. Okay, so let's take a look at what this card says here. Well, so I'm going to just move this here. Look at where the card had landed here. It's very interesting. Of course, I'm going to read this card. Okay, so and here we have, let's take a look. Well, the end here, wow. And really, if you look here, I think that these are storks. It's very interesting. I want to double check and make sure. I want to make sure that these are storks and I'm not telling you something that may not be the case, but let me just double check here. Yes, wow. That is exactly that card. This talks about a new addition to the family, a new state of evolution. Okay, it could also be a movement or a promotion. And here, this card in this case, I believe it talks a lot about, as I mentioned before, so for example, to baptize a child or different religious views, things like that, to people who think slightly different. But in all ways, I don't see that it is a major issue here. And definitively here, people who are in the second line here, if you are awaiting a pregnancy, it will happen, and I congratulate all of you, to which it does. Okay, so let's go on to the third line, Pisces. Okay, so let's see here. Here, unfortunately, I don't think that this is the best news. This is talking to me about someone that you're waiting for to declare their love to you, but the person does not take that step. It could be, I see here, maybe a work colleague. And it could also be here that I see someone who is an earth sign. So it could be Capricorn, Virgo, or Taurus. But in reality here, this person, what they want with you is not a stable relationship. If not, what they want is a sexual relationship. And so, Pisces, if you like someone at work and are waiting for their declaration of love and it does not arrive, because I also see here, it could be an air sign, Libra, Aquarius, or Gemini. I am inclined a little bit more for earth rather than air, but could be either or. Look closely if you are putting all of your hope in having a stable relationship with this person. I don't see that happening here. I want that to be clear, because the cards are telling me that, firstly, this person does not like to be rushed in any way, shape, or form. This person likes to take their time. They like to communicate a lot. For example, you might be at your desk or wherever it is that you work, and, you know, you hear your phone going off every moment with a text message. But more than anything, I see it's a little bit of a game, an erotic game, more than a relationship. And so here the cards are telling me to put a lot of thought if you feel that your feelings start to evolve for this person, okay? Don't give it wings, because here, this is the end, which is to be alone, but this is you here. And so if this person wants to play these types of games in which they send you message, you know, take this as it is, because I don't really see that there is a happy ending here. The cup is empty in this case. Okay, so I'm just going to see what these other cards have to tell us. So let's see what these cards tell us. So the first card that you have here is the Book. And this card talks about secrets and privacy. It's something that is hidden. This is almost like the desire to possess something. So really what this person wants is to possess you, I would say. You have to be very cautious, and as I say, don't judge a book by its cover, because the cover may be very beautiful, but in this specific case, what's inside is not so much. Okay, so this is as far as the spiritual aspect. The cup here that I see is very empty. And this card here is to make decisions and to choose things in life. Okay, so you're going to have many opportunities, and you will have to decide in which direction you will go. As you see this card, it shows that it divides into the staircases here. So when it talks about relationships, this card identifies a lot of problems. It's almost as if these people talk a lot with double meaning, or double entendres, really. So I'll explain to you what's going on here. For example, this person asks you, "What do you think of me?" To give you an idea. And at that moment, you release all of your emotions, everything you've held onto for months. You know, I like you, I feel this, that. But then the other person says, no, I was asking you, what do you think of me as far as my new haircut? You know, because this is someone who has that characteristic. As you say, this book is closed with a lock and key. So don't open yourself up. Okay, so just be cautious, Pisces, okay? So thank you very much for watching my videos. If you like it and leave me your comments, subscribe. If you want a private reading, you can write to my email, ameliatarot13@gmail.com. And for those of you that want to know more, you can look at my membership, which is just at the bottom here, in order to join. And I will be releasing a new card to decipher a little bit more this reading and get a bit more information. Okay? Thank you very, very much, and I wish you all the best, Pisces.